Hello, I'm Tactical Pascal. Welcome to the channel. I hope this finds you all safe and well. This video is the startup tutorial for the P-47 Thunderbolt in DCS World. So here we are in the cockpit of the P-47. It's absolutely amazing. I mean, the detail is phenomenal in this cockpit. First thing we're going to do is bind controls. So, a few things you want to bind is mixture to auto rich. This is going to help us with the startup. Bind that if you can to your hot ass. You're going to want to bind the starter energize switch and the starter engage switch. Now, depending on the joystick, I've got a Thrustmaster Warthog. You can assign some axes. So, the joystick slider is my engine RPM. My throttle is the normal, it's the right hand of the split throttles, and then for the boost I've got the left hand of the split throttles. That should do us for the bindings. So the startup, although it looks complicated, it's actually quite easy. So we're going to look to the left. Straight away, the first thing we're going to do is look at our flaps here. So they're in the down and neutral position. Sorry, the down position. I want to put them up to the neutral. And the way I've got my binding set up at the moment, there we go. It's flicking through that switch. So we want the flaps in the neutral position. This is going to allow us then to not bleed any hydraulic pressure as the flaps try and raise with that switch in the up or down position. So we want some hydraulic pressure so we can open the engine cowling. Now at the moment it looks open, but in case it's not in a servo that you join, we're going to do it anyway. So to the left hand side of the heat here is a hydraulic pump pressure, and then this is going to pressurize our hydraulics. So what we want to do is pump 1, pump 2, and we'll go pump 3 and pump 4 times, and then we're going to pull the engine cowling to the out position. So I'm going to pull that knob, the engine cowling is out, so that's fine, because if we don't open the engine cowling as we start up the engine, it's going to overheat. So left hand side, what we want to do is put our fuel pump to main. So this red knob here, we want the small end pointing to the up position, so main and on. We're then going to come across to the generator switch, right click that up, and then we're going to have the fuel boost power pump rheostat. It's just the dial. We're going to toggle that all the way up. Next thing we're going to do is come to the throttle quadrant, put the propeller, that's the black handle, all the way forward. Then we're going to crack the throttle forward a little bit. Now this boost pump here, you do not want to use that right now. That's going to be used in things when you're above like 12,000 feet, or if you're going to a dogfight, you can use it for an extra bit of engine power. Next thing we're going to do is make sure that the selector switch is in the auto, so the propeller RPM is in the auto, so that's the upwards position. If it's in any other position, just highlight the mouse so it goes to the up and down green arrow and click it so it goes up. Just to the right of that we have our battery, and before all that we start putting the engine, we're going to focus in the middle here. So press and hold park and brake, press and release your toe brakes, release the park and brake. When we start the engine, this means we're now not going to roll forward, because it's a very powerful engine and you will roll forward. So put the magnetos to both, turn the battery to the on position. Then we're going to unhook the fuel primer, and we're going to pump it 5 times. And then we're going to close it. Next thing we want to do is engage the starter just quickly so the brushes seat, and then we're going to press and hold the energize button for about 15 seconds. When we do that, or after we've done that rather, we're going to flick it up to engage. The prop's going to start turning. As the prop starts turning, we'll keep that engage button pressed, and we're going to put the mixture to the auto rich, and that's why we bound that button earlier. So let's press and hold energize for about 15 seconds, and then the sequence will be release energize, put it to engage, and throw the mixture forward, and you're going to keep holding the engage button until the engine actually fires up. And then you'll see that RPM rise, and then you want to drop it to 900. So that's about 15 seconds there. So I'm going to press and hold energize. Engine's going to catch. And then we're going to throw a mixture to auto rich, and we'll keep that starter button pressed. The engine is now running. So we're up at 1000 RPM. What we want to do is bring that power down just a little bit on the RPM gauge. So now we want to wait for the engine to heat up. Now in multiplayer servers, normally all of this is taken care of, it automatically happens, but what we want is all these dials here to be in the green. So the top dial here, sorry, the blue, top dial there, and that is the engine oil temperature. Left hand side is the engine oil pressure, and then the fuel pressure, and below that is the cylinder head temperature. The cylinder head temperature at the moment is cold, that's closed by the cowl flaps. So if we want to close the cowl flaps, you press and push the flap cowl in. So push like that, and then you can see up front those cowl flaps are closing right at the end of the nose there. That's going to start bringing up the temperature on the cylinder head. To raise and lower the temperatures on the oil and the carburetor, so the carburetor is over here, so we want our intercooler to the closed or neutral position. Bringing that up now. So that's the intercooler toggle there, and then beneath it we've got the oil cooler. It's open just now, let's make it a little bit down to the neutral, and that's going to start to bring up our oil temps. While we're here, might as well raise the gear, sorry, raise the flaps, don't raise the gear, that'll be costly, and put them back to neutral. Now at this point, if you want, you could close the canopy, that switch is here, or you can map that to your joystick, but for me in a warbird I prefer to have the canopy open so I can stick my big head out and look and see where I'm going. Unlike the most beautiful aircraft in the world, hello chaps! This has a lockable tail wheel. Again, I bind this to the pinky switch on my keyboard, but the tail wheel locks, so taxiing in this is much easier. Radio panel here, turn it on, and you are essentially good to go when all these temperatures have increased. So what we'll do is we'll wait for that to happen, and then we'll come back. Before we do that, I almost forgot about the artificial horizon. Uncage that, and then scroll down. Right, so we fast forward time. I've put them to the close position to speed up that process, but our dials are almost there, so we'll get going. So I'm going to put them back to the neutral position, because if I forget, then I'm just going to cook the actual engine itself. To activate the guns, we come across to the left, we turn on the gun sight. This is going to display up here when we actually put the guns to the guns and camera. So the aircraft itself has 8 50 cals, so 4 on the right, 4 on the left. It can be pretty devastating. So next thing we're going to do is taxi. So release parking brakes by just tapping on your brakes, and then taxi forward. You don't need to give much power at all to the taxi, because it's such a powerful engine. So I'm going to taxi up the runway, look down, I'm going to unlock the wheel, swing it round with a bit of brake on the right hand side, taxi forward a bit more, bit of brake on the right. Oh, I had the wheel locked. There we go. So we're going to taxi forward, and then we're going to bring her to a nice gentle stop for the lineup. Lock the tail wheel again, and then just put the brakes on. Now at this point I'm lined up in the runway. I will actually now close the canopy. Nice satisfying electronic canopy in the warbird. Now for the trim for takeoff, if you look to the left hand side, these are all your rudder, aileron and elevator trims. At the moment we're at neutral. Takeoff, we've got nose heavy and tail heavy. I prefer for my elevators to be a touch tail heavy. It's just the way I prefer it. So what we're going to do is we're going to slowly build up the power the same way as you do in all the other warbirds, and when you get to about 130 miles an hour, the aircraft is just going to lift off the three wheels. So unlike the Spitfire and the 190 and the 109 that sort of rise up onto the front two wheels of the tricycle, this one just takes off from the three wheel position. So gently build that power. We're not going to go above about 42, 43 in manifold pressure here, so it's just going to be the edge of the green. We're just steering down again with flaps, same way as you would in any other warbird. Well, not with flaps, with rudder. So we're approaching takeoff speed. We're at 100 miles an hour, getting lighter on the wheels, and she's airborne. So gear comes up. Now this gear warning light is red. When the gear is up and locked, that will go to black. Now it takes a long time for the gear to come up. Very long time, but when the gear is up and locked, the landing warning light is going to go out, and I can start to trim my nose back down because I had it trimmed up for that takeoff. So that is the startup, the taxi, and the takeoff of the P-47 Thunderbolt in DCS World. If you like the video, please consider hitting that subscribe button and the like. It's going to help the channel grow and make even more videos for you wonderful people. Until next time, Tactical Pascal, out!